Hey, pushers, how we doing today? Sorry for delaying getting this out to y'all, but let's go to the Great Awakening and the Enlightenment and see how it impacts the colonial Americas. So first off, the Great Awakening is going to be a religious movement, okay? You know that right now religions is pretty divided right now within colonies, right? You have your Congregationalists, known as the Puritans up north, those are separatists as well. You have a bunch of different groups in the middle, kind of all over the place. You have Lutherans and Quakers and all other groups that are there. You got the Church of England in the more southern parts, all right? And so it's all kind of going back to that religious identity. We're going to see the Great Awakening be a new national type of identity, okay? Basically, we're going to see people dissociate with the established how worship works and go to a new revival style worship where we're going to use huge, big ideas, big teams together to worship, pray, and listen to speakers. Think of it as the first megachurch in a way, to a degree. Um, the revival being these huge, huge, huge religious gatherings. So it takes place in 1730s, 1740s. We're kind of getting more towards the end of this unit here a little bit now. And why? Well, number one, think about our Puritan church services, right? 4 or 5 hours long. You have the waker uppers with the little feather dusters. It was dry. It was dull. It was distant, okay? Preachers felt people needed to be more connected with the emotions of this religion, not just not connected at all with those kind of parts. And so as part of this, right, we're looking at, what is more inside, what's kind of the outside portion of all these things. And so people in New England could read and interpret the Bible for themselves, which was great. A lot of people could do that in the New World, but it became kind of a problem, right? People are saying, well, it's all about who you are, what I am, identity, not necessarily the religion inside of you and what you're doing. And so some different preachers came over from the old world and helped make this kind of happen. One guy was named George Whitefield, this dude right here, who's called a giant because his big booming voice, he stood his big pulpit. He was the first big evangelist that would travel around talking to people and like try to get this Great Awakening movement going, where he would be preaching just to random crowds everywhere, and people would come from all over to watch him instead of going to their local church services instead. And so they kind of got around this big, huge revival movement of the time. Another person was Jonathan Edwards, who had a very famous sermon called "Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God," and basically a lot of this was like fear-based, right? Telling people, hey, you got to be good people, scare sinners to salvation, and all this kind of stuff. And so, be telling people you're horrible, you're terrible people, act better, be better, so that you can go to heaven and that kind of thing. And so it's a little bit different than our predestination, a little bit different than other churches that are there in terms of like your behavior, your emotions, all that kinds of being a big part of this. So it's again, who was, these preachers that try to get these big revivals started first in Massachusetts and everywhere else. George Whitefield was definitely more in the southern counties. Middle counties, not as much because they kind of that religion freedom already. But it's a big deal because what it does is it kind of like makes new religious convictions in the colonies, okay? They're less about what religion you are, more about who you're part of this group that is existing only in the colonies at this point. And you kind of see the first rebellions happening. Instead of political rebellion, we're breaking away from the religious rebellions, right? We're not happy with the current church. We'll go do something else, okay? The idea of our self-governance, our self-thought way, that way, we make our own decisions, our own choices. In a way, it's kind of a big change because it hasn't been done before, okay? This is a new idea. You didn't break away from things. You stayed where you were. You conformed. Here, it's kind of going the anti-conformity. Do what you want. If you're not happy with it, break away if it's not meeting your expectations of what you need and go do something different. So again, we'll see this kind of being an opening into this idea of rebellion and a new colonial identity that's being formed. Thanks for checking us out, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great day.